In the recent interview, Nvidia CEO confirmed the delivery of the Blackwell chip. I have uncovered something pretty interesting about the holding of Nvidia in the top hedge fund managers portfolio. We're going to talk about one deal of Nvidia with Accenture, which kind of went under the radar of everyone, and this is very important deal. We're going to talk about NEO and how the NEO investors are pretty much the happiest people in the world right now. They have free catalyst going for them this week, and we think that the next week is going to be even better for them. We're going to talk about Tesla and how Tesla is probably going to be on news in the next 2 weeks and what to do with Tesla stock. And at the end, we're going to cover SMCI. So SMCI has a lot of problems. We'll talk about them, and I have the funniest story to tell you about analyst trading of SMCI. Hey there, and welcome to the Market Monkeys channel. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Today we're going to cover 4 companies which I have mentioned, and all 4 of them have a very recent news which might affect your portfolio. So you have to know this information. Let's start with Nvidia. On Wednesday, Nvidia CEO went to CNBC, did an interview, and he said a couple of interesting things. So first of all, he confirmed that the Blackwell chips are on deliveries right now. So it's full production and they are being delivered already to data centers and industrial AI customers. So this is an important piece of news because in our previous video we talked about how Blackwell chips will affect Nvidia's Q4 results. Looks like they will affect even Q3 results. So in this interview, Jensen Huang talked about huge demand, and he said that Blackwell is as planned and the demand for Blackwell is insane. Everybody wants to have the most and everybody wants to be first. So he confirmed that the demand for these chips is insane. By the way, for those of you who don't know what Blackwell chips are, so Blackwell GPUs are the next generation of Nvidia GPUs. One before that was called Hopper, and the Hopper GPUs are the ones that kind of created all of this insane buzz around Nvidia and made sure that Nvidia stock went a lot during the last 2 years. So Blackwell chips are probably going to be even better, and Jensen Huang confirmed that Nvidia is going to keep releasing new generation of GPUs every single year. So next year Blackwell chips will already be kind of out of date, which will keep the Nvidia revenue line intact. By the way, we have several videos about Nvidia where we talk in details about all of these things, about Hopper and about Blackwell deliveries of these chips and how they are going to affect Nvidia's financial results. So if you're not entirely sure what Nvidia does or how do they earn money or how come Nvidia earns so much, go and watch these videos. They will kind of explain everything to you. Now, one interesting thing which I haven't covered about Nvidia is people right now talk about Nvidia cannot go any higher. So Nvidia had this amazing run, and right now it seems kind of stuck between $110 and $130 per share. And one of the assumptions is Nvidia sold already to everyone. There is no one left to buy the stock. So we know that institutional investors are the ones who actually move the stock. It's not you and me, it's the big top hedge funds who buy the stock in bulk and actually make the stock go higher. So I have uncovered some interesting stuff. 70% of hedge fund managers have Nvidia in their portfolio. That's kind of as expected. Most of them have Nvidia. Nvidia is very well performing stock. What's interesting is that the relative weight, so how much stock of Nvidia they have relatively to all other stocks. Nvidia's relative weight is 0.99, which means that the average holding of this portfolio is 1. So it's kind of the average number of shares. The number of shares of Nvidia is less than average. Actually, there are 16 other tech stocks which are being held more than Nvidia. So at some point, these managers will understand that Nvidia is top performing stock and they actually have the capacity to go and buy more. So for those of you who don't think that Nvidia can go higher, it absolutely can. By the way, in one of our previous video, we have set target price of Nvidia for $161 per share. We are explaining how we came to this conclusion. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's really cool and entertaining. One more thing which I wanted to talk about Nvidia is the deal with Accenture. It kind of was in the news, the stock moved around 0.7%, but I think it's a huge deal. So Accenture is like this big, huge tech company, $200 billion in market cap. What they do is they are doing professional services. So they are helping other companies kind of figure out their tech environments. They are doing training, they're doing DevOps, all this kind of stuff. So they have signed and actually extended the deal with Nvidia to create something which will be called Nvidia Business Group. Nvidia Business Group will be a group of people inside Accenture which will go and help the customer with AI adoption. Number of people who will be working in this group is 30,000 people. 30,000 people will be hired to go and help other company to migrate to Nvidia's infrastructure and adopt AI. I think this shows insane demand for Nvidia infrastructure, and I think this stock is going to go much higher. We will know more in November when Nvidia quarterly report will come out. Now let's talk about NIO. So NIO investors are the happiest people in the world right now. They have a lot of catalysts going for them. The first one is the huge stimulus package that China has adopted this week. I will not bore you with all the details about in what China actually wants to invest the money or how they have sacrificed the whole real estate sector. What I want to tell you is about $46 billion, which is part of this package, which is allocated for companies to go to Chinese banks to take loans to repurchase stock. So this is something which is called stock buybacks. Companies do that. They take money and go and buy their own stocks. So currently there is $46 billion allocated right now for Chinese companies to go and buy back their stock. So if you're holding a stocks of Chinese company, it's a good possibility then in upcoming quarter or two, this company will buy back its own shares. The second thing is the record breaking of NIO of its own deliveries. So they have delivered a bit more than everyone kind of expected, and this very much reminds us of what we saw in June. So in June we did a video on NIO where we kind of talked about the chain of events which we anticipated. So the first kind of link in this chain was the record breaking of the delivery, which in turn will go and do the quarterly results much better than anticipated, which will be a surprise for everyone, which will make analysts to go and actually upgrade the target price for Nvidia stock, which will go and boost the stock price. So we recorded a video about that in June. If you're interested, go watch it. Right now we are seeing something quite similar. So again, NIO starts delivering record high numbers. We will see probably in Q3 results that it's going to be a huge surprise. If the company actually goes and has a good guidance, so a good anticipation of the earnings in Q4, this will make other analysts take notice and upgrade the stock price. Currently, we have an upgrade from JP Morgan, who actually anticipates the target price of $8 per share. I have seen one of the analysts who upgraded the stock to be $8.9 per share. In general, the report is coming November 14th, so it's going to be an interesting one. I think we are going to see NIO hit 10 by the end of this year. If you're interested in NIO stock or you're holding NIO stock, this Tuesday we will do a full breakdown on NIO. We will talk about their deliveries, their upcoming report and their results, and in general what we think will happen to NIO stock. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, do that right now so you won't miss this video. Now let's talk about Tesla, because Tesla will be in the news for the next probably 2 weeks. They have a lot of things going on, but one thing that happened a couple of days ago is Tesla reported deliveries of 462,890 cars, and apparently they missed by 1,000 cars, and that's why the stock fell 5%. And I have to say, this is kind of bullshit. If you're holding Tesla shares and you're kind of worried about the missed deliveries, don't. This is kind of bullshit news, and the stock will come back because, let's face it, they have promised to deliver what, about 500,000 vehicles, and they have under-delivered by 1,000. This is a miss by 0.2%, and the stock fell down 5%. This is not something to really worry about. Tesla will have much more interesting stuff. So on October 10th, they will have a robotaxi event, which they have called We Robot. We can debate about the name and the marketing of the event, but on this event, we will probably see the prototype of this cybercab, and hopefully Musk or one of his executives will actually go and explain to us about the plans for the whole robotaxi operation, how it will differ from other projects like that, because Tesla is not the only company who is working on robotaxis, possible revenue, market share, all of this information. It's gonna be extremely interesting, and I'm really waiting for October 10th to see that. 6 days after that, on October 16th, Tesla will have its Q3 results. Right now, analysts are kind of bearish on Tesla. They had 19 revisions in the last 90 days. So, okay, what analysts do before the earnings of a company, they kind of predict what the numbers will be. And so, for example, they can predict that earnings per share for Tesla will be $10. And if something happens, if some piece of news comes out, so for example, Tesla had, I don't know, a strike on one of their factories, they can go and revise this number. So they can say that for now we think that the earnings will be $9.50 or something like that. So in last 90 days, we had 5 upward revisions and 14 downward revisions. That is kind of bearish, but you know, the less expectations they are, the more possible it is for the company to go on and surprise everyone. One interesting thing which came out this week, if you're into risking money and making a quick buck, Goldman Sachs actually advised its client to go and buy Tesla call options. So we have call options with the strike of $255 for October 25th. So if all plays out and the stock really jumps, it can be a very interesting deal. So last time I checked, these call options were trading for about $16 per contract, which makes a break-even point $271 for now. Last time, again, I checked, Tesla was trading around $245. By the way, if you like this format, if you find this information valuable, press the like button and subscribe to our channel. We will have more videos like that. The last company I want to talk about is SMCI. So SMCI had their stock split, which I think personally will not help them. And we have a couple of news of SMCI, and I promised you the most hilarious analyst rating. So first of all, the stock split, we've talked about that. Second of all, the non-compliance from NASDAQ. So SMCI officially received a letter of non-compliance from NASDAQ because they still haven't submitted their annual report. From August, we're waiting for like a month and something, and they cannot get their financial intact. We actually have a video where we broken down all which had happened with SMCI and why we have sold our position. It's extremely interesting. I strongly suggest you go and check it out. You will like it for sure. So one other thing we haven't said in that video and actually occurred to me, SMCI heavily relies on capital markets to actually, well, operate. Since the beginning of this year, SMCI has issued $4 billion in stocks and convertible bonds to support its operation. Company cannot do that if they have a letter of non-compliance from NASDAQ. They don't have access to US capital markets. So SMCI better go and figure their shit out because, well, the company is going down. Department of Justice actually started a probe on accounting violations. We have talked about this as well in our previous video on SMCI. And the most hilarious thing ever. Okay, so SMCI right now is trading for what, $40, something like that after the split. Loop Capital, the investment company, which actually have a target price for SMCI, and the target price they had is 150. SMCI today is trading for 40 and falling. Loop Capital said that it's gonna trade for 150. This week they went and revised their estimates and said that they have slashed their numbers. So they slashed from 150 to 100. It's not going to happen. SMCI is not gonna go to 100. You can quote me on that and you can send me comments under this video in a couple of years if SMCI goes to 100. It will not. So what do we have here? We have 3 very good companies who have positive catalysts for growth in the upcoming weeks. Hopefully this was informative for you. We have one pretty bad company which has catalysts for, I don't know, going bankrupt, closing down already. Hopefully it was informative and it was useful. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget about the video on NIO on Tuesday, and we will see you there. Take care.